Welcome to Massive Beers. My name is Matt. We do beer stuff here. Other half. Other half, Mylar Dust. Imperial. India Pale Ale. Double dry hopped, mind you. Other half. Are they a king of hazies now for me? It might be. At least, it's weird because there's breweries that I do think make fantastic, as good or if not better, hazies. But I just, the availability on Other Half is just incredible in my area. You know, this is everything I do from them now is off the shelf for what I would say is a reasonable price point. You know, sub $20 for this. That's kind of the way beer goes nowadays. But if you factor in, I don't have to drive to Brooklyn, cross the bridges, pay the tolls. It's kind of well worth it. And this one I'm kind of excited for more than most because one of my favorite beers of all time, at least hazy-wise, specifically from Other Half, is their Mylar bags. The original Mylar bags is kind of like my jam, and it still is. I buy it every now and then and enjoy it, but I assume this has something to do with that because it's called Mylar Dust. I assume it's some kind of like keefy hop, dusty, cryo, whatever. They probably explain it on here. Anyway, it's Mylar Dust, double dry hopped, Imperial India Pale Ale. Other Half NYC, it says on the side here, so I assume it comes. Nope, it's a DC jam. And okay, here we go. Hops: Citra, Amarillo, Mosaic, Cryo, Eldorado, Galaxy T-90, 8.5%. Hazy Imperial IPA brewed with hand-selected blend of hops, giving notes. See, they're just generic. They've been hand-selected hops is their thing. They've been saying as late, so I'm not gonna hate on it. There's no info. So we're expecting. Okay, I was gonna be like butternut squash soup turbidity, but you know it's a hazy. No one's gonna be confused about that. But it's not that ultra turbid. You know, it's kind of one of the more simplistic Other Half cans, but it makes sense because it's Mylar Dust, so it's kind of like Mylar bags, but a little splotch of that going on. So black on silver. Anyway. Yeah, I mean, that looks like, honestly, a dense but drinkable hazy. It has this kind of apricot juice level kind of vibe to it with this beautiful soapy edge to it. Hopefully that comes off with my little roll there. And honestly, it looks like just something that's going to be drinkable but impactful, if that makes any sense. And that's kind of where a lot of Other Half beers land, at least for me, in that they tend to be quite expressive. But more often than not, there's cases where that's not the case, but more often than not, they have a impact, but at the same time you can drink them. I think that is a combination and is kind of lost on a lot of big old hazy producers. So let's dive in, see what the nose has to offer. Oh man. Yeah. That's the good stuff. Oh man. It's like, that's what I remember beer being. Or, no. Pump it. Pump the brakes. Let me explain myself. That's what I remember really good haze being. I shouldn't say beer. That's putting way too big of a umbrella over what I'm trying to say. But that's what I remember really good haze smelling like. And it has this bright fruitiness, citrus leaning, but obviously you're getting the other fruit portion. You're getting your tropical, you're getting your stone fruit. We can talk, you know, I'm picking to some nectarine and all that. Fine, whatever. You do you. But it's usually a combination of those three. They tend to float in the middle generically, but it's not so much what the fruit is being expressed as how it's being expressed, how it's showing itself from those hops. And this is really, really showy in the fruit side of things and other places too. It has this beautiful fruit medley, citrus leaning, pineapple leaning, tropical, sweet on the sweet side, kiwi side, and then, again, generic stone fruitiness. But it's the green. It's the green on there that really has me excited. Because I don't know if this is going to be bittering, all that bittering, but there's a slightly freshly cut grassiness on this. A slightly unkept lawny, freshly cut grassiness with a little bit of like minty, eucalyptusy kind of thing that I've missed so much. I've gotten on a couple beers here and there as of late, so maybe it's hop crops are bringing that back. I don't know. But it has this little bit of fluttering, cool, greeny, eucalyptus-y thing going on, which has me all kinds of hot and bothered. It smells like you're gonna get a bit of sweetness here. You're gonna get a little bit of bittering, but I don't think it's gonna be cloying. I don't think it's gonna be overtly bittering. It just smells beautiful. From a hazy standpoint, it smells expressive, big, bold, rich. Let's dive in, y'all. Cheers. That's ranky. I dig it. Okay, I didn't think it was going to go that big in that direction. So again, we started off with the mouthfeel. We'll follow up with the mouthfeel. It's nice. It's a silky, creamy mouthfeel, but it's not thin, but it's drinkable. You know, and that's what I was trying to kind of express earlier. In that you're not going to be confusing this beer with thin. Some people might when all they drink is butternut squash soup. But it has this density to it while at the same time retaining drinkability to it. Fruit side of things, it's more of a fruit medley than those lead you to believe. There I got like pineapple, citrus first, into maybe tropical fruit, and then going down to stone fruit, all within reach of each other. But there was a tiered thing here. Very much kind of a medley here. Again, if I'm pulling teeth, gotta put a gun to my head, I gotta say something citrus first, but it really is this nice fruit medley, this nice fruit blend going across, a little bit zesty, a little bit citrusy, but again, full, rich, and big. It's the green portion of the show. I thought it was going to come off more unkept lawny. There's a little bit of ranky-dank in here. There's a little bit of scallion. There's a little bit of weed floating around in here. There's still that unkept lawniness. That little bit of a eucalyptus-y, minty, how I describe it, the best way to describe it is a slightly medicinal kind of thing. I don't like to use that because so many people use that word as a negative, so that's why I go the other direction with those, but then inherently I end up mentioning it anyway, so I don't know why I just don't say it. It's there, but it really is kind of shoulder to shoulder with that green portion that is scalliony, and that green portion is slightly weedy, ranky-danky. This is delicious. This is delicious. No one's going to be confusing this with not being delicious unless you don't like beers like this. You know, it's kind of that thing that I talk about all the time. Some people get to open this and they go, man, it's just too hoppy, and you know, it's a little bit high ABV, and it's really hoppy, and it's a bit too turbid for me. Oh, really? So you bought another half double IPA that was double dry hopped with a bunch of hops, and you don't like it? Because you don't like those things. You got on a ride. You can't get on a roller coaster and then get angry. It goes up and down and loops around and stuff. That's my point. So if you don't like this, you got on the wrong ride. So yeah, I mean, listen, and this is probably the best way I could explain my appreciation, love, like of this beer. I think it's absolutely delicious. I think it's a really fantastical representation of hazy IPA. It's given me a lot of things I typically don't get on the green side of things. Is it Mount Rushmore status? No, it's not. And I'm saying it emphatically because just knee-jerk reaction, there are 4 or 5 that I've had over the past 6-7 months that have done better for me. It's worthy of being up there. But would I buy this off a shelf? Zero hesitation again. If I wanted a 4-pack of really good haze, like I'm putting a mix 4-pack together to ship to somebody, or I want to bring beers. Typically when I'm going somewhere, I'll buy a couple 4-packs, mix it all up, bring it to where I'm going, take some home, give some friends. This is in the mix. This is, if it's fresh. Did I talk about dates on this? This is right before Christmas, so it's a month and a half old. I would never hesitate to buy this again, especially if I'm looking for a well done, really well done, quality hazy double IPA. That's going to show me a little bit of green, a little bit of that scallion, a little bit of that ranky-dank that I don't get out of a lot of haze nowadays. I'm in, and it's delicious. Is it one of the best I've had over the past 6-7 months? It's in the conversation, just not Mount Rushmore status. Value and availability, I want to say it's 20 flat. After taxes and stuff, probably give or take right around there. Off a shelf and leave you with, if you like, what will you like this? If you like New England haze, but you also kind of pine for that old school, that little bit of green ranky-dank, unkept lawny thing going on. A la single cut, you know, a couple breweries that used to do it when hop crops were a bit different back then, you'll dig this. Other half, have you been to all their breweries? The 400 of them they have. Have you been to the Chicago one where they were charging $18 for a pour? Now they've reduced it to whatever, 12, or something of that other. When they opened the first night, the prices were insane. The immediately the next day, they're like, we screwed up, we got to lower it. Have you had a bunch of their beers? Have you had this beer? If you've had, please let me know down there what you think. What's your favorite other half beer? I don't know. I mean, Mylar bags might be up there for me, but I'm really curious. Actually, you know what? My favorite other half beer, I don't remember the name. Is it Nothing Gold Can Stay or something like that? I think it was a wheat wine. It was a wheat wine. I forget where I got it from. I forget. Somebody gave it to me in a beer mail. Who was that gave it to me? Oh, man. I'm going to kick myself. But anyway, that was... I remember that beer distinctly. But here's the caveat to that. I love that beer so much. I tracked down a bottle to bring it to Beer Tube Palooza, open it there, and it sucked. So, take that for what it's worth. Anyway, let's talk about all that stuff down there. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Hopefully you're enjoying a little bit of other half right now. Hope to see you next time. Cheers, y'all.